Hello there, everyone. My name is Kevin, aka Toying Around. Welcome back to the channel. Last week, on June 28th, Super7 revealed the first wave of their Ultimates Power Rangers action figures, and here with me to talk about them is the lead designer of the Power Rangers line and my friend Kyle Wlodyga. My name is Kevin, aka Toying Around, and I am very excited to bring you this special review.
If anything, the Kim family, they're archetypes.
Sad, but not always a bad thing.
I'm okay. I have one. Do you see all the name?
Let's try though. Let's still try.
Hey, Kyle. Welcome back to the channel. How are you doing?
Good, man. Excited to be here. Always excited to talk to you. Excited to talk Power Rangers today.
I'm excited too because we finally got the reveal of the wave one of the Super7 Ultimates Power Rangers. We knew what the characters were from a few months ago, but now we saw one character recently, but now we actually get the shots and some renders of everyone in wave one. So I'm looking forward to talking to you about all these figures and what you have to tell people about this new wave.
Yeah, man. It's been a long time coming. We've been working on this for better part of a year, so most of quarantine. So this wave means a lot more to me than some other ones, just because it's been such an interesting journey working remotely and working with this brand that I love for the first time in a format that is it's been sort of been done before, but not the Super7 way.
Right.
So I'm really excited to see, so far at least, that the reaction's been really, really positive, and that there's always like a little bit of like apprehension, like I'm working on this thing, like I hope they like it, and like you put it out there, you're like, and then they did it.
Yeah, I know you put a lot into this, and I think it shows with the stuff that it comes with. Sorry, can you let people know what you kind of did for research for some of these characters?
Oh yeah, well, more or less, I rewatched the entire series again. And then I watched it again and started taking screen grabs and notes, and he should come with this and she should come with that. And, I grew up with the brand. I think I was born in the 90s, so like 93, 94 was like the perfect age for me to get into Power Rangers. And my parents didn't let me watch it as a kid because they thought it was too violent, which means that I just watched it even harder wherever I could.
Right.
And, I could still get the toys. I think I dressed up as a Power Ranger every Halloween from like second grade on. From like 4 to second grade, because I did every single color. And like, yeah, it was really cool. And obviously, as an adult, you sort of, or as you grow up, you change and you shift the brands that you love a lot. But Power Rangers, I always kind of came back to. And so, given the opportunity to do these Ultimates, it really gave me an opportunity to fall in love with the brand all over again and really study it with new eyes, which is really, really exciting.
Awesome, man. And Kyle, real quick, where can we get these right now?
Super7.com. The pre-order is up until July 30th. Yeah, I'm so glad that people are really responding to it. It was an absolute pleasure to be able to work on the Power Rangers brand, to be able to work with the Four Horsemen again, who led all of the sculpting on these, and have the full support of the Super7 team, the packaging team, the sales team, licensing team. Every single department of the company really pitched in for these guys to give you the in my opinion, of course I'm biased, some of the best Ranger figures that are out there today. So I appreciate the time, and I hope everyone likes them when they get them.
Perfect. Let's get into the figures. And I had the opportunity recently to chat with you on the official Power Morphicon channel during Power Morphicon. That was a lot of fun. We went through some other Super7 products. The Reaction Wave 1. We went through this. Let's see where it is.
I have them. What was it up here? I have them up on my wall here. No.
This giant dude right here. And throughout that whole chat, people were in the comments, what's happening with Ultimates? Where's Ultimates? I want to see Ultimates. And at the end of it, we got to show off Goldar from Wave 1.
The because my window's right here. My
Yeah.
window's, like right there. I just saw the Amazon guy drop it off.
Amazon truck?
Yeah, the guy just dropped it off.
Go!
My YouTuber, do I look like one now?
Now, please say something.
Hi, this is Kevin, aka Touring Around.
Tori?
Yeah.
So we are going to jump back in now. Kyle just bought a microphone through the magic of Amazon Prime. It arrived instantly. You'll notice his audio is a little bit better. But this is the Wave 1 Ultimates Goldar that we got to reveal at Power Morphicon on the stream. And it looks amazing. I have to tell you again, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you. I actually, I really, in my research and studying this brand even more, I realized just how, like, it probably sounds weird, but like how beautiful Goldar's design is. Like, he's incredible. He's got this amazing lustrous armor, and there's a little bit of ambiguity in his design. Like, is he a lion? Is he a dog? I think in previous interview I had mentioned, but someone told me he's a manticore because like there's some parts that are like scorpion like. Because in Jew Ranger he's married to Scorpina, and there's like they have like a scorpion baby together and stuff.
Are they officially married in Power Rangers?
No, they don't ever talk about that. They just like work. They're just like coworkers in Power Rangers.
They're like high-level lieutenants with kind of similar outfits.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Equally incompetent. Well, off the bat, looking at this, the gold paint is super sharp. You have 2 portraits on there, which a lot of people appreciate. People who take photos or do photography or their displays. The extra portraits always, with the added emotion, it makes things look a lot better. So I really dig those.
No, yeah, I agree. I'm especially like proud of that Goldar sculpt, just because like I always really enjoy head sculpts where you can like hear them when you look at it, So like,
what do you hear when you look at this one?
If you're trying to get me to do my Goldar impression, I'm not going to do it.
When you look at this, there's tons of accessories throughout your research of rewatching the entire series. You picked up on a lot of stuff. You let some of the people know, in case they're not familiar with some of these, what we got here coming with Goldar.
Sure. Those are, those pentagram looking things, beyond looking metal, are the badges of darkness, which Goldar gives to 5 random putties and to create the Dark Rangers, which look terrible, but are very imposing because they're just putties, but they're like super powered. So if you get enough, if you wind up purchasing enough putties, you can recreate that scene and all that stuff. You also get his wing kind of backpack or winglets, because for some reason halfway through the show, like, he just stops showing the wings, and then when Zed comes back in season 2, he's like, "I give you your power back." That is not a good Zed, and he gets his wings back.
That was like halfway Zed, halfway Goldar.
I didn't commit, and so here we are.
It shows.
He also comes with his sword, which is very, his signature weapon. And he's even got the little lion heads on either side of it as well.
I'm loving the detail on the sword and the paint as well.
Oh yeah, it's actually a really interesting design. There's a lot of colors to it, and some of those older designs kind of have a little bit of the Star Wars sort of design aesthetic, in that there's like real fabricated pieces. Like there's like a wood handle, but then there's like a riveted on kind of like cross guard and things like that. And I really, really enjoy that we were able to capture that. And then lastly, but not leastly, is that a word? He comes with the Power Coin box, and that's from a specific episode where I think he's bargaining with the Rangers for their parents' lives with their Power Coins, and so they all turn in their Power Coins. So that box will have a little functioning flap open, and all 5 Power Coins are sculpted into the base of the box.
Nice. And we have, along with the beautiful figure we'll get to in a second, we have 3 additional sets of hands.
Yes.
To go
So
with the figure.
yeah, so you get fists, you get horizontal hinge grips, vertical hinge grips, and then expressive kind of open hands.
Oh, nice. So you get it for multi-directional.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And let's zoom in on this mug.
He's beautiful. A face only Scorpina could love.
I mean, if we zoom in even more, you can see there's actual detail in each of the feathers, I guess, in his wings.
Yeah. They're all kind of have the I don't know my feather anatomy, but they have the like stem down the middle and then all the feather kind of hair detail and such. You'll probably also see that there's 2 tones of gold in there as well. And just like the show, his like crest crown part of his helmet, that is
Right.
going to be, that'll be translucent yellow.
Oh, okay.
Like light will kind of cast through that as well.
That's awesome. And how do the wings move?
They're on ball joints, and so they'll be able to flap back and forth and rotate as well.
Beautiful. And can you tell us, well, us, that's weird, me and everyone who's watching.
My viewers.
Yeah, my viewers. That sounds weird. I'm a YouTuber. What can you tell everyone about the articulation on Goldar?
If you have picked up any of our Ultimates figures, you're going to be very familiar with how Goldar is articulated. So, like I said, there's ball joints at the wings. There'll be ball jointed shoulders with a bicep swivel, single jointed elbows, interchangeable hands, ball joint at the neck. There's a ball joint at the hips and at the diaphragm cut at his armor as well.
Awesome.
So you'll get a good range of motion in there. And then, hidden thigh cuts. So the thigh cuts are up inside of the thighs, right underneath those gold plates. And then single joint knees and full ball joint with ankle pivot for his feet.
So the reason that I feel like I have to ask, where the POA is, because looking at this figure, it's kind of hard to see where everything is. For a lot of fans and critics of Super 7 and Ultimates, they're like, oh, it doesn't have double jointed elbows. It only has this. It only has that. It's very limited. But looking at this, it looks like it's all hidden very well, all the points of articulation. So
Yeah.
I just want, the fact that I have to ask you what we're working with kind of shows how well it's kind of built into the form of the figure.
Yeah.
Can you speak about how you decide where you put the articulation versus, the look of the figure?
Sure. I mean, there's always kind of the standard things that you expect because you obviously want it to move just like a humanoid figure would. We've said it in several interviews before, myself and Flynn, is that we always, we value the aesthetics of a figure, above all. We want it to look like the thing that you want it to look like. And so we more or less, we have our standard Ultimates articulation schemes, but for unique characters like Goldar and for, the T-Rex Dinozord, which we'll talk about in a little bit, that all those conventions kind of get thrown out the window and we have to rethink how that's all going to go. And so it's all about finding those points of articulation that we want to add, but also hiding them correctly. And that gets a little bit trickier on, characters like the Rangers and the Putties, which are in these extremely form-fitting, very slender suits. So we still found some pretty clever ways to hide that stuff and give you that range of motion that you're looking for. But it almost, like, while we do have our standard Ultimate kind of articulation schemes that we usually look for and work with, we sort of have to reinvent the wheel almost every time with how we want it to function and still fit within the Ultimate's form factor.
And Kyle, something that I always talk to you about for Super 7 Ultimates is the beautiful packaging that makes it impossible for me personally to throw it out, even though, like I say, I joke about this all the time. I open one figure and it's like four boxes out, and it's like, how many things did I buy? But it was just the one Ultimates figure. But it's fine. It's justifiable. Looking at the artwork of the previous lines and now these Power Rangers ones that we have these renders for, these look fantastic. I'm gonna just show some of these right here.
Yeah, shout out to the Super 7 packaging team. Absolutely crushing it. Giving you those retro vibes. Feels a lot like that vintage line, but also still fitting into the Ultimates form factor. They also had a unique challenge in if you look at, we can get into it later, but the Rangers all have their power coins on the boxes, but not every character in Power Rangers has a power coin.
Right.
And so for like Putty and Goldar, you'll see that there's now this diamond shape, but it has a similar design aesthetic to the power coins.
So if it was some other form of bad guy currency,
Yeah,
that's what
I guess.
it would
I
look
guess. Yeah.
like.
You
A
know.
Goldar dollar.
Yeah. Gold dollar.
Goldar. Oh shoot, I missed that one. Nice. And this is another wonderful shot that this was part of the reveal from Power Morphicon.
Yeah.
And right away when I first got that image from you guys, I was like, okay, you know, we have a contender. This is fantastic. Yeah, the colors look great. Everything looks. You hear. This is one of those photos where you say, "I can hear this picture." Like this.
I will get you, Rangers.
Okay, that was pretty good. That was
Thank
pretty
you.
good.
Thank you. That's I still feel like I could have worked on it, but
Yeah.
I'm getting there.
We can circle back if you want to.
No.
I do a pretty good putty. It goes. Woo!
Keep all of that in there. Keep all of that in there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I had to because that's the perfect transition into the next figure. Beep 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 beep. So my spot on putty impression leads us into another figure of this wave. It's a really cool army builder. It's going to go along with Goldar really well. And if you look at this off the bat, this is a lot of stuff that comes with the figure. And you know, we have two portraits here. Can you let us know what's the difference between the two that it comes with?
So it kind of depends on the footage that you're looking at. Some of them have these kind of dark void faces, but then some of them have the red eyes. I think that originally kind of came from the Japanese footage where they're called like Golem soldiers or something, where they have the red eyes and like a specific patterning to their like heads and stuff. So we felt it would be cool to just give you both options, just because, you know, depending on what scene and what episode you're looking at, you'll get the red eye putty or the no eye putty, as I call them.
Depending which episode they cut it from.
Yeah, exactly. He might be my favorite in terms of accessories because he's got just ridiculous ones. Everyone loves that episode, Wild West Rangers, where all the putties are dressed like cowboys and they wear like suspenders and have like, you know, the little ascots and cowboy hats. So we wanted to give you a little bit of that. And then the clown collar, which is soft goods, done by CJism through Four Horsemen, is from the episode that gives me nightmares. I can't remember exactly which episode it's called, but at one point the putties are dressed up or like in disguise as clowns at a carnival. And there's a scene where a clown just starts running at the screen, kind of like, you know, Monty Python's Sir Lancelot scene. And eventually he's running and then he transforms into a putty and he runs like this, head up like a weirdo, but he still has the clown collar on. It haunts my nightmares. So
looking at this with all of the accessories and callbacks that you have here, is there anything that didn't make the cut for you that you're like, you know what, I have this on my list, it would have been cool, maybe you didn't need another accessory, or for manufacturing reasons? Was there anything that you wanted to see on here?
The only thing I think we might have missed on, beyond this perfect putty, is the pumpkins from Pumpkin Wrapper that go on their heads.
Right.
But, we might fix that. You never know.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Otherwise, you more or less can get, like, counting it, I think you can get like 5 or 6 different putties out of just this one pack, because you get the Z vest and the Z knee pads for the Z putties. The boulder hand and the blade hand technically make them into super putties from that very specific episode.
Nice.
They're like harder to kill and stuff. And then obviously, last but not least, the football jersey, which is also soft goods, from the episode. Again, the monster's name escapes me, but it's like a football playing rhinoceros who then the Rangers then have to fight and all that. So for me, I'm at least going to need a full defensive line of putties for my collection.
Love how these hands and the little rubble stone texture on the fist and on the forearms there, they look fantastic.
Yeah, we worked really hard to try and get that correct. just so it looks really stony and gross. And then obviously it needs to match the faces too, because that was always something I really liked. Beyond the like pentagram belts, is how they coordinate their rocks across their outfits.
Coordinate their rocks. And you can see here it's well, you know what? You're the designer. Why don't you talk about the articulation? Because they're not the same across the board. Like you've said,
Yeah.
you know, you can't just use the same number of joints, the same number of cuts for, you know, a putty, a ranger, male ranger, female ranger, you know, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
can you let us know what's on this guy?
Sure. I mean, some of these, some of the more humanoid forms can have some similarities to it, but yeah, we can get into it. So, I mean, there's a ball joint at the head, so we'll be able to look up and down all around and tilt. There's ball jointed shoulders. There's bicep cut, and then single joint elbows as well. They'll be able to rotate at the wrist gauntlet, but it's kind of rocky, so it'll sort of look the same in every angle. But most notably, you'll see that there's obviously the ab crunch in there. And the thing that you can't really see is that at the waist, right underneath the belt there's a ball joint at that waist. So you'll really be able to get all of that movement out of that torso that you're looking for.
Awesome.
Ball joint legs with thigh swivel deep inside there as well. And then single joint knees. There'll be a boot cut and then the ankle pivot as well.
Sweet. So ball joint at the waist, hidden by the belt, and then another thigh swivel hidden by the boot.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah, well, yeah, boot swivel at the boot, but then there's thigh swivel inside of the inside of the top of the thigh where it connects to the crotch piece.
Pelvic region.
Yeah.
No, I like that. That's another one of those things where that promo shot of the five figures first came out. And, you know, there was a lot of criticism on that off the bat, and it's incredible. Some people are saying, you know what, these are worse than other figures. I'm like, you've never held these. How can you make that assumption? And then, of course, after having spoken to you, knowing that there is that articulation there hidden in some of those areas, it's like, I don't get how you can comment on something like this. You haven't held it based on one picture.
You know, I personally kind of welcome some of that criticism. It just means that they're passionate about the brand,
right?
You know, I'm also, you know, online. I'm looking at toys. And I'm like, oh, I wish I had this or whatever. But I also try and do my best to not judge anything until I have it in hands, and that's something I learned from my good friend Darius. So.
Yes, which is his new way of enabling people to buy more things, to buy things you didn't even know you wanted, just so you can say you've tried it out and held it, and you know how it works.
That's right. If you're curious about the thigh swivel, real quick, if you look at the preview image with the three of them together, the way that they're bent, you can kind of see those joints a little bit. The three putties, yeah. Yeah,
well, you can see how Trini's leg comes out. I'm assuming those are very similar, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then, of course, we have some images of the box art. Here's some
with the gold dollar, or what do you call it?
The putty penny?
Putty penny. There you go. Yeah. Putty penny. I like that.
So what I like about Super 7, like I collect the Ninja Turtles Ultimates. You get one turtle in each wave, and then you kind of have some bad guys and other characters that fill out the rest of the wave, which is really cool. That's kind of how I talked myself into buying Ninja Turtles Ultimates. I was like, oh, you know, it's only one turtle that I have to pay for every few months. And then after I first got Raphael, then I was like, oh, right. Now I have to wait for everything else. So right. It kind of worked. But this wave, I think it works it's the same pattern for all of the Ultimates. So we have the villains for this wave, which we've gone through. We're going to move into possibly arguably the most favorite.
That's
Power
right.
Ranger in MMPR.
That's
Let
right.
me know if that's not correct.
Everyone's favorite, Tommy. We
have Tommy.
That's right. Like I said, you know, cheers to all the people commenting about, oh, another Tommy. So exciting. No, Tommy's the best, which is why we're making him first. Yeah, the Green Rangers have been done before, but not like this exactly. So
Right.
there's quite a few differences, as you guys can kind of see from what we're looking at here.
Please do let us know.
Yeah. So if you scroll up a little bit,
Yeah, let's go.
there you go. You get two versions of Tommy. You get the good guy Tommy with his nice ponytail, and evil Tommy with his flashing green eyes. Sometimes when in the show when he would be like at school with them, like he'd like look at them evil, and then like his eyes would flash this really bright green, which always stood out to me.
Right.
And I hadn't seen that before, so you get those nice bright green eyes on him as well. And he's looking not stoked about being here. He's
About the juice bar. And he's got a little earring there too, right?
That's right. Yeah, and they got if the guys got their earrings, they're gonna have their earrings. So it's very can't get more 90s than the left side male earring. So
Let me take this off real quick.
now
Damn you, Kyle.
he will also come with some toy inspired accessories as well. So that one on the top, that's the Toyetic Blade Blaster, which is a direct nod to the Automorphin Blade Blasters that came in. Those like solid color injections, simplified designs. Those were the toys that really got me into the line. Was those Automorphin? Click the button and they flip their heads and
Right.
stuff.
So this Blade Blaster and
Mhm.
this
That Dragon Dagger, yeah,
Dagger.
exactly.
And it's cool because, like I mentioned, collecting Ninja Turtles Ultimates, there are callbacks to stuff like this. For example, the Shredder that had, the mispaint from back in the day where his eyebrows were on his helmet. There was an extra head for that on the Ultimate Shredder. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't display it with that head, but it's super cool that it's there. So
yeah, we always try and give you options. Whether or not you're going to use them is up to you. So with Ultimates, we mean it when we say Ultimates. We try and give you almost an irresponsible amount of accessories with all of these.
Dragon Dagger has a lot of really nice detail and
Yeah.
paint there on the handle.
Yeah,
And
Very
it's
fair.
cool to see it side by side next to.
Yeah, so you can really see the difference between what you saw in the show and what you got in those vintage toys.
I posted some of these pictures a few days ago, and there were questions about this funky looking weapon.
Yeah, that is what's called the Mega Heater. And in typical Rangers fashion, Zed creates a monster, and Zordon immediately somehow knows exactly how to defeat it,
Yeah.
even though it's the first time it's ever showed up. And so this was used against a monster called Turban Shell, which is basically like one of those like conch shells that you get at like,
The beach?
yeah, basically the beach. I don't know. I couldn't think of the word beach.
The guy who lives in California is like, what's that thing called? That place with it's really wet and there's sand. I hate it.
I think I was going for like gift shops at the pier, but I couldn't get that sentence formed until I got made fun of. He looks like that. And Zordon's like, he can only be defeated if you go inside and like heat him up from the inside, but then splash him with water and he'll freeze. And you're like, okay, whatever, Zordon. So this is from that very specific episode, and it was cool and futuristic, and I'd never seen it done before. And at Super7, for people who know, we're all about those deep cut accessories.
You guys aren't afraid to put those accessories in and callbacks for like a casual who looks at it and says, "What the heck?" Like Optimus with a basketball or a surfboard. Like
Exactly. So right there, you'll see there's some more toy inspired accessories. That is going to be a Vac Metal toy inspired dragon shield for him, and that's based on, again, the Automorphin dragon shield, which kind of came apart in two pieces. So I used to lose the other half of it all the time because I would flip it with it on and it would explode and then go into different directions. Right above that, though, you'll see that there's an interesting accessory in that he's got interchangeable arms.
yes,
And as a Ranger fan, Kevin, I'm sure that you'll know that when he, eventually in some episodes, he transfers his dragon shield power to, Jason or Zach, and the shield. So our shield will be removable, and you'll see there's
Awesome.
some nice diamonds painted underneath there as well. And you'll also be able to interchange the arms because he loses the armbands when he does that too. So
Right.
you'll get, I think just out of this, there's, there's probably like 3 versions that you can do with the Green Ranger here. There's the standard one there. There's the without the shield. There's with the toy shield. There's, the unmasked versions. Like I said, we're really trying to, we try and give you everything that we can, make it the ultimate version.
that's awesome. And so if when Jason and Zach come out, does it go on the same way? Will their arms pop off? Do you need to pop off the arms to put the shield on for them?
I'd probably say yes when we get there. We haven't engineered that yet.
Right.
But if this is successful, I would say you can expect to see a similar system to this.
Fantastic. Because I like looking at it now, helmet would come off easily because you have head swaps anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You have arm swaps here. If it were to theoretically go on to Red or Black Ranger later, it would require the same amount of stuff to remove.
Correct.
I like that you have the Power Morpher. It's gold, which is, we know it's different for Tommy, but you also include the open one.
Yes. That was something that I always felt some figures are missing, especially if they have the unmasked heads. So
right.
You can pose them with it. Oh, jeez. Okay. Pose them with it, and then, if they're unmasked but their costumes are on, to me that shows it's like they're mid transformation or mid morph. Sorry.
Mid trans, mighty transforming.
Optimus Prime convert.
And the Morpher bots. Oh no, not convert. You have a lot of hand accessories, hand swaps.
Yes.
For the Green Ranger.
Right.
I'm assuming these will be able to play the flute.
That's right. So the bottom two on the left side, those are the flute playing hands. And then, he's got some nice kind of martial arts hands. He does a few poses where he's kind of like this in the show. Right. And then the vertical and horizontal gripping hands, just like Goldar. So that's something you'll see for the entire wave, is it's going to have those two different versions of the gripping hands.
Sweet. And then you have 2 swords here.
Yes.
And the black one was another accessory that some people pointed out, including myself, which was not as known as the Sword of Darkness that he has there.
Yeah.
What?
So obviously comes with the Sword of Darkness, the sword that enchants him and makes him evil and serve his evil Empress Rita. The other sword, however, is called the Sword of Power. And he uses that against, again, the monster name escapes me because all of those monster names are just so ridiculous. But he's like a goat who rams people. And so he was using that against him. I think it has something to do with where his powers come from.
It does seem like every time a new monster comes up, Goldar, Zordon is like, "Oh, this is so and so." It's like, Did you know him from Eltar? I feel like they just made it.
Or you could have warned us, like,
is there a catalog we can reference?
Make a wiki, Zordon. What are you doing in that tube? Just
Finster is just making them out of clay, like it's his own creation. How did you know? It's like Rita has a monster named so and so.
Well, yeah, but like think about like Shell Shock, who wasn't even made by Finster or Rita. He's made by Babu and Squat.
Yeah.
Like that's the first time that anybody's ever seen that turtle with the stoplight jammed in its back. And Zordon's like, "Oh, you have to go get these specific flowers to stop his effects." It's like, really, Zordon? Like, we're all new to this. How do you know this?
This looks like it has the same kind of ab crunch as the Putty.
Yeah, and it'll also have that ball joint in the waist that we're looking at too.
Beautiful. The single elbows. What's most important for Power Rangers? They have to do martial arts, but will he be able to bring the flute up to the playing position?
Yeah. So while they are single jointed elbows, we really kind of cut into it and tried to give you as much range as possible. Because if he can't summon the Dragon Zord, he's not much of a Green Ranger, right?
Right.
So while they are single elbows, which I know people are not stoked on sometimes, that's just a difference of opinion. We did work really, really closely with our engineers to make them as deep as possible. So you'll get past 90 with all of those single joints.
I say it with a facetious tone, but I want to show that like it's not the end of the world. You can still get the pose that you want.
Yeah, it's not malicious either, which I feel like some people confuse sometimes. So we're all fans of it. We all collect these figures. We all want the best looking figures we can make, and that's all we're ever trying to do.
Tommy, let's look at his box real quick. There's his power coin.
Yep, the Dragon Zord power coin, which one of my favorites, just because it doesn't have the animal sort of look to it. The other thought I had was in the vintage toys, he actually had like a because they all came with like those temporary tattoos. There was like a different power coin kind of dragon shape to his on that. It wasn't actually this like 3-prong claw thing. So, maybe down the road might do something like that.
And that just looks like a completely packed, jam full box. That's awesome.
Yeah. Our packaging team is already very excited to be having to figure out how to fit all that stuff in there.
They just like, damn it, Kyle. There's only so much I can fit in here.
2 trays, Kyle. I said 2 trays.
4 arms total? So we have 2 villains in the wave. We have Tommy, so we're gonna have to get another team member to help back him up in a fight while you're waiting for wave 2 to come out, and that would be the Yellow Ranger.
I feel like this one's probably got some of those deeper cut accessories that people are not super familiar with, and I'm excited to dig into it. So first thing you'll notice is that there's 2 different unmasked portraits in there. With Ultimates, we try and give you everything for that character, every version in one box. So, if there are, in the future, if there's a Ranger that had 2 actors play that character, you will get both of those heads. That's important. That's important to us to do.
Right. Because, we chat sometimes and you've mentioned it's very important that, we don't, at this price point, we don't want you to have to go buy it twice. Yeah. Just for the alternate, unless it's an army builder, that's different.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, that's, army builders are built to be army builders, right? It's just, everybody knows what those characters are. And the head thing's not a dig on any other products that are out there or anything.
Yeah.
That's just a personal philosophy for us at Super7.
Portraits, I think I like the Trini one more because that's the one that I first started watching. But it does look fantastic. And
thank you. Yeah, we worked really hard with the 4 Horsemen to get these portraits and all these sculpts really, really accurate.
And much like the Tommy figure, you have the toy blade blaster,
and the toy power daggers as well.
Right,
so, with that nice single injection color on both of those, a very vintage feel.
I'm going to cut to this real quick. The actual daggers, because it looks like there's a lot of detail on these as well.
Yeah, the power daggers. It's important. Obviously, they're her signature weapons. It's important to get those right. So we studied, lots of footage and lots of props that are out there as well.
Right.
There, you can't really see it at this angle, but it even has kind of like a cavity at the pommel for when it turns into the power blaster.
Beautiful. And I do like this is a crazy amount of blade blasters.
Yes. Yeah. It's a transformable weapon sidearm that they all carry. It was, again, similar to including both versions of the heads for different actors. It was important to us to include all versions of these sidearms, these blade blasters, and add that detail like the Power Rangers logo and stuff on there. Even at this scale, we're gonna see how that translates in real life, but we're gonna work hard to try and get that as much as we can.
That's the goal, to have that text on there visible, which is really cool. I didn't even notice that first until we zoomed in right now.
Talk about deep cuts here. You get your nice your open power morpher and the power crystal, which she uses up to power up the Zords when they're piloting the Megazords. But the doll and the flower, I have personally noticed are a big question on the internet. So I'm happy to answer.
Please address those.
Answer the people. Give the people the info they seek. So the doll on the left there, that is Mr. Tickle Sneezer, and he is a doll that Trini collected in the show and like brought in to show and tell. And you know how like in the show, like Rita is like they do like a little intro with the teenagers, and then Rita or Zed is like, I'll give you something to whine about, right? based on the thing that they just talked about. And so, she's like, oh, I collect these dolls. And Rita's like, I'll give you something to collect. And so she possesses, sends her evil magic into this doll, and it becomes this big troll monster looking guy that the Megazord fights.
And how did Zordon know about it? It's like the one I watched the other day. Kimberly was playing a guitar, and then Zed makes a monster out of it and makes a guitardo, which is I forget what creature it was crossed with, but then like how did Zordon know about it? He just made it up.
Yeah,
So
I don't
again,
know.
this is the part where D Amazing would say, Kevin, this is not made for you. This is made for children.
Yeah, it's for children.
Just enjoy the
Stop
show.
thinking. Yeah, exactly.
And enjoy the toys.
Exactly. Speaking of children, though, in the episode of Jew Ranger, the giant monster version of Mr. Tickle Sneezer like befriends a child, and for some reason in the show, in the kid is on screen with the Megazord, and they like in the American version they didn't cut it out, so there's like a full grown child who's like hip height of the Megazord. That I'm feeling like I kind of want to do like the deepest cut accessory if we ever get to the Megazord and like make a child action figure like separate accessory for that guy to go with this.
I feel like if any company were to do it, it would be Super7 and whoever's working on it, which is you.
That is true, but I feel like even me explaining it to you, I lost you, which means we'd probably lose the audience if we made it.
No, not at all. It's like if Super7 did Ninja Turtle movie Turtles, I would fully expect a Donatello swappable head where you can see the actor's face in his mouth from one of those scenes. Like,
I mean, we would.
Super7 would do it.
We do have Godzilla, and I'm tempted to add like a suit actor head to our Godzilla figures.
Oh, dude, that would. You know how amazing that would be for
We'll see.
ACBA toy photographers and stuff.
But yeah, so that's Mr. Tickle Sneezer,
Yes,
which is just ridiculous. For those who know, it's pretty incredible. And I had mentioned earlier in the stream Shell Shock, which is the monster that's created by Babu and Squat to impress Rita, which is just a giant turtle with a big old stoplight in its back. And he freezes the other Rangers, but he uses his go powers on Yellow, and so she just can't stop running the whole episode. So Zordon is talking to her on her wrist communicator. It's like, you have to go get these flowers from this specific island because I know everything about monsters, even though this was just made. And she runs like across water or something to go get these Deandra flowers. These are called Deandra flowers. I probably should have led with that. And uses them to defeat Shell Shock,
right,
and cure the other Rangers. So.
and that's a cool prop to use across anything. If you were doing photos, that's just a good thing to have. If it weren't episode specific, we have all of these hands. Have you studied all of their poses in the beginning when they morph and they're just like ha, 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 all that stuff, all the hand positions? Are all those screen accurate, or are these hands
as much as we can make them? Yeah, I mean, a lot of that footage is kind of old to look at, so you gotta like squint to see it accurately sometimes. But yeah, so there's a couple of poses where the top left ones where they're like they kind of have these like generic morph sequences that they reuse. Obviously,
right.
in the show, like one of them, she like puts her hand out like this, and that's what that hand is. There you go, like that.
Yes.
So, and then some of the later seasons, she does the tiger claw hands, which is really cool for the saber-tooth tiger. And then obviously, relaxed hands, gripping hands, fists, all the stuff you need to defeat your evil space aliens.
This is the first female figure that we're looking at for Power Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool to get it right here off the bat in Wave 1. Can you tell us how this articulation differs from like a Tommy or some of the male figures?
Yeah, so while it does differ a little bit, it is pretty similar. Like I said, we try and family all of the Ultimates together. So there's the ball joint at the head with the interchangeable heads. Something we do for female Ultimates is that there's a diaphragm kind of swivel and cut, so it'll be able to move a little bit there. It just kind of preserves the female anatomy a little bit better than say an ab crunch, and you can do that. It just like for us, we found this is a little bit more successful. She will have the ball jointed waist like the other Rangers and Putty and all the other figures as well, so you'll really be able to get that nice torso movement. But
it's great to see that the upper torso and the ball joint combined together will get a lot of movement for her, which I think is
it's important.
It's very important. If there were any doubts or hesitations about, how Super7 Ultimates would move in terms of a Power Ranger figure, like I think putting those two together is a huge step.
We're not opposed to different joint styles as long as we can hide it correctly.
And that's great, because if you look at this figure, I mean, I know it's very important, the outline or like the silhouette of a character. If you look at this off the bat, there's nothing that looks awkward or inhuman.
Sure.
It looks it keeps the form.
Mm-hmm. Which is important to us, because we see a lot of that stuff where it's like, like it's that character, but it looks like a toy of that character, right? Where we want this to feel like you have a mini version of that character in your hands.
Cool. And it's safe to assume you have the hidden boot swivel there and the
thigh swivel up inside of that piece there. Yeah. And the ankle pivot, the ball joint shoulders, the bicep swivel, and all the single elbows, and then the wrist as well.
Awesome. Work it, Kyle. Saber-tooth tiger coin on this. And like, for people who haven't bought Ultimates before, like, this is like a shiny, glossy, I'm assuming it's the same as previous lines.
Yeah.
And it's like an embossed logo coin there.
Yeah. So that'll all be embossed with some nice gold foil on the power coin as well. And it's got a really nice premium feel to the slipcase. For anybody who follows Brian Flynn on Instagram, he just posted our King Diamond in packaging that is shipping very, very soon. And it's got that signature Ultimate slipcase, and it pulls off really nice. It feels just so deluxe, and like you said, it makes it very, very difficult to throw that box away. Look at all that stuff she comes with. It's just, again,
it's beautiful.
Almost an irresponsible amount of stuff to go.
And this is another thing. I love how I've seen Brian Flynn do a lot of interviews lately. His tour, as you would call it, well, as I would call it. You didn't say any of that, but you have your hand positions there, and I'm gesturing to my screen right now. But if you look at her elbow, the arm that's up, it's like you get that pose. It's still the same form. It's still sleek. You can see the cuts, but like there's nothing jutting out. There's nothing missing.
Yeah,
and that's super cool. And this is the first photo that came out where I mentioned people would look at this and say, oh, this is inferior figure to something else, to other Power Rangers figures, but there's stuff in there, that torso joint that you mentioned, that is not visible because it's hidden.
Exactly.
To make it look aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, and we had talked about how's Tommy gonna be able to do the pose or whatever. So like we have those really deep cut elbows, but we also give you some of those additional hands with different angled disc joints, which actually increase the range of motion of your arms and your hands. So like Tommy, if he didn't have a flute playing hand that was on that vertical disc, you wouldn't be able to do that.
Right. It looks like even here in like this region, is there like a bit of a cut there so that it turns even more?
There is. You have a good eye.
Good eye to you, mate.
How do I sign off? No.
There's one more. The final figure, normally there's I think 4 in a wave, but now this Power Rangers wave comes with 5.
That's
because this last one is just so badass. Why not?
Yeah,
breaking the mold. You're gonna do this. It is the Tyrannosaurus Dinozord.
That's right. Just look at that big beefy boy. Everyone can thank Brian Flynn for having us include 5 figures in this wave, because we had talked about doing Zords just because Zords hadn't really been done in this scale with accessories fully articulated. There's obviously the transforming Zords and some of the younger age appropriate Power Ranger Zord product, but there never really been a collector grade one like this before. And so we had suggested that, and I was like, okay, cool. I'll swap out, a putty for this or whatever. And Flynn's like, no, we're doing 5. Zords are important. Zords are like almost like a category unto themselves.
How tall are the putties and the Rangers?
Sure. Yeah. I realized we didn't get into that yet, but so the T-Rex Dinozord and Goldar are a full 8 inches tall.
Awesome.
So your monsters and your Zords, as this line continues, will be in scale together, because if you don't have monsters that can fight your Zords or your Zords that can fight your monsters, not that fun. Then Green Ranger and Putty are 6 3/4, so that 7-inch scale, that
Right.
true 7-inch scale, and the female Rangers are going to be a little bit shorter than that.
And since the reveal of these figures, I think people seeing the Tyrannosaurus Dinozord, the two main questions are: A, are we going to get all of the Zords? And 2, do they all connect?
So, all of the Zords, let's see how they do. This is still a brand new line for us. I want to do all of them, of course.
Right.
But the reason we led with the T-Rex Dinozord of all the Dinozords is because he's the only one who fights on his own.
Yes.
Like the Mastodon will freeze monsters with its trunk sometimes, and the Sabretooth and the Triceratops will shoot missiles or whatever. But this is the only Zord that really could go one-on-one with other monsters. So it was cool, and it was important for us to lead with him, I think, just because he is that kind of leader Zord as well. And as far as connecting goes, he will not transform. He will not be connecting to the other Zords, but that enables that may feel like, as a collector, you might be losing something. But the way that we view it and the design philosophy behind this is that, there's never really been a true suit accurate Tyrannosaurus Dinozord. It's a guy in a suit walking around, kind of like Godzilla, right?
Just get this.
Yeah, just like
you need
that.
to combine it. Just get this.
Exactly. Available now from Super7. And so, when we were designing this guy, or when I was designing this guy, it was like, let's make it as suit accurate as possible to the guy who's on the soundstage fighting the other actors in monster suits.
Right.
As well. So he won't transform, but he'll have a crazy amount of articulation and full range of motion.
Do tell.
So obviously his mouth opens and closes. He'll be able to look up and down and kind of twist around a little bit. You'll get a little bit of movement at that neck as well. There's a ball joint in the shoulder, right? And single elbows and wrist movement. There'll be a cut. You kind of can't see it because of where the arm is, but there'll be a cut at the diaphragm so you can swivel a little bit.
Okay.
And there'll probably be a swivel at the waist there as well, I think. I need to double check, but that'd be a very easy place to put it, right underneath the belt.
Right.
And then there's ball jointed thighs as well, so he'll be able to, you can see it already. He doesn't have like a straight on stance; they're kind of out a little bit.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, single joint knees and then full on ankle pivot in those ankles. The other thing is that in the tail, every single section, and you can actually see it a little bit there. Every single section has a ball joint in it, so you're gonna have full range of motion on that tail.
Oh yeah, so these aren't like perfect. You can see from this photo they're not perfectly straight. They're slightly misaligned.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of shows the that's actually really impressive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
Segments there. We have different hands to fight, which is awesome. And I love that this is included two little Red Rangers that can fit for your display. It'll look awesome if you're taking photos, to have a little guy on the ground or, do a little mountain on the side for perspective and put him on and he's kind of talking to the Zord, or put him on top like the product shot.
Yeah, a very common shot for Red Ranger to be right on top of the head before he hops into the cockpit. So we thought that was a really important thing to include. And for those of you who are typing your comments of why is he not fully painted, it's because he's going to be less than an inch tall, and our factories would murder us if we asked them to fully paint a figure that small.
Where are his double elbows, Kyle? And we have this beautiful coin as well.
Yes. So we recognize that, the Dinozord doesn't really have, any lasers or chest cannons or kind of swappable parts like that. He is the weapon, right? He just hand to hands all of the monsters. So we were trying to think of, other things to include for the Zord just to make it, feel, we want it to feel like it's worth the price point that we're asking for. And so, a replica power coin of the T-Rex just on its own, and made in die cast, felt like a really cool feature to add on in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's more stuff in the box. Can't complain about that. So this is going to be 8 inches tall.
Yep.
Obviously, the box is going to be a little bit bigger, much bigger, and
he's absolutely stuffed in there.
And here he is.
There's the shot right there where he summons the Dinozord.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can't wait to get this. I think this and Goldar are my two favorites, just because that feeling that I got when I first saw Goldar at Power Morphicon, and the shots right before, it just blew me away. Yeah. And the fact that these are, to scale with each other, you can get them into fights. I don't have that from any other lines right now, like monsters and characters and Zords, all different levels. So it's cool to get this. I'm so happy. Like, I know it's not your company, but knowing knowing how much you love Power Rangers, and we talk about Power Rangers a lot, and the amount of I feel like effort isn't really.
It's a lot of effort.
Enough. It is effort, but it's
blood,
beyond
sweat,
that. It's
tears,
passion.
all that. Yeah, passion is probably correct.
To see that it's finally revealed, and I'm excited for it. A lot of people are excited for this line, so I'm very happy for you, yourself, and Super7, man.
Yeah, I mean, big shout out to the entire team at Super7 for making this possible.
Yeah,
it's no one makes an action figure line alone. Or hundreds of jobs, thousands of hours of work. It's incredible that stuff like this gets to happen. So I'm really grateful and really excited to be able to share this with everybody else.
And again, this is available for pre-order right now on super7.com until the end of July 30th.
July 30th is the cutoff.
And the expected date, I know with everything happening right now, it's estimates are estimates.
Yeah.
What is the estimate?
Yeah. Again, keyword estimate. Have we said the word estimate enough? Estimate would be spring of 22. I mean, once again, estimates.
Yes. Well, Kyle, thank you so much for your time today. We went on probably longer than we should have, but at least you got a new microphone in the middle of it, which I do appreciate. And also, thank you so much for talking about these toys. I'm just blown away by what we saw this week.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity to talk through it. It's always really cool to be able to take people through the product, especially at this point, only me and the Super7 team have been acquainted with these figures for the better part of a whole year at this point. So it's cool to be able to walk people through it, because at this point, no one knows these better than we do, and we're not trying to hide anything. I really want everybody to know everything they can about these, because I'm super stoked on these. And I want everybody else to be stoked about it too. Absolutely.
Well, again, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for watching. If you like this, please go ahead and share it with everyone. Let them know. This information is kind of important for people. Sometimes if they just look at the pictures, they don't get all the information. So let everyone know. There's a lot of awesome work put into this. And subscribe to the channel. Hopefully there are more. We can hear more from Kyle in the future about future toys.
There's a lot of future toys coming, so there'll be plenty of opportunities.
Thank you for watching, and keep toying around. Peace. I'm on that episode now with the Dark Rangers.
They're so dumb looking.
Then you like my example? Yeah.
This is not the first interview I've seen of you. So when you do the head articulation, you tend to.
Do I act out the?
Yeah, you do. It's awesome. So give us the upper swivel.
You do the upper swivel. It's this, right? It's your,
yeah.
Right?
And then there's at the ball joint.
At the ball joint. Okay. I actually, when you make fun of me, but I do this when I'm like thinking about how I want a figure to move specifically.
Oh, for sure.
Like in college, I studied illustration here in California, and that, like, when you're trying to put characters in certain poses or whatever, there was something in my animation classes. There's a saying called "When in doubt, act it out," which is you don't know how something's supposed to move, like do it yourself, and you'll see it in a different mode, So I do the same with my action figures.
When we were talking about Silverhawks and talking about how far we need the head to look back, I was sitting at my desk and I went,
"Yep."
I'm like, oh, I guess you don't need it to go 90 degrees. The rest of it is just lower back, because that's the motion that I was doing. And I think that's the same with a lot of toy photography too. If you want to think about posing, you kind of act it out.
Yeah.
Like how would your hand look like this if you're blocking, if you're protecting yourself, that kind of stuff. So
Exactly.
it's the same thing.
Exactly. And walk poses, a big mistake I see in some walk poses is it's like the same arm and same leg are forward, which is not how people walk.
Rookie stuff. Come on.
That's right.
Yeah.
Johnny is rolling over in wherever he is right now.